if this kind of a person suffered trauma or bad experiences when they were growing up, they may feel like it's their lot and that they may not deserve better. So they will stay because, they have very low self-esteem and they don't feel, they don't believe they deserve better. There are those also who stay because they feel or they believe that it is better for the children, especially if there are children involved. There are people who believe that it is better for their children to grow up or to be raised in a family where both parents are. And so they stay. They stay. You will hear people saying, once my children are grown, I may consider leaving, but as long as they are small and they are still in this house, I will stay. So there are those who stay because of children. And then number 13, there are those who blame themselves or they feel guilty about what is actually going on. And these are people who may feel that they have contributed to a certain degree to what is happening within that relationship. And so they may feel they want to stay, maybe in an effort to try and make things better. And meanwhile, they are staying there. And this happens a lot, especially for people who have been in similar relationships before. If someone has been in, let's say, 2-3 relationships that are toxic, and they find themselves now in a current one, they may feel like maybe I am actually the person who contributes to this relationship being toxic because I have found myself in similar relationships. So they may stay because they blame themselves and they feel guilty about it, and they may want to try and see whether they can improve the situation. There are people who stay in toxic relationships because they make excuses for their partners. For whatever reason, they may, as long as they are making excuses for their partners who are manipulating, controlling, abusive, and all that, they will not leave because it means they have denied the truth to themselves. They have refused to see the truth of the situation. And so as long as they are making excuses, it is unlikely that they are going to leave. People leave when they decide to honestly look at the situation and acknowledge what is going on. That's when they get the strength to make strategies on how to leave. And then there's what I call illusions. There are people who stay, this is number 15. There are people who stay because they have a certain picture in their minds as to how their partner should be. They are refusing to see their partner for who they really are. And they have a certain image or a certain picture of how their partners should be, and they cling to that. And so they will stay in that deception, if I may call it that, hoping that with time their partners will actually conform to that kind of image. And so they will stay and continue suffering in that situation, in that relationship. And then there's jealousy. There are people who would rather stay in toxic relationships simply because they cannot imagine that probably once they leave, their partner will bring in someone else. They cannot imagine, like, if I leave this house, I am sure someone else will come. And so I would rather stay. So that is one reason why some people will stay. They would rather stay so that nobody else comes in to take their place. There's also people who stay because they are what we call people pleasers, or fear of what people will say if they leave. So people pleasers are people who are afraid of. They may come from families or communities where separations or divorces or such are frowned upon. You will hear families that make statements like, in this family we do not divorce, in this family we do not separate, So if that statement is strong enough in that family, there are members of that family who will be, who will suffer in toxic relationships, and they will not be able to live, or they will not live because they fear the repercussions. So they would rather please their families and their friends, and continue suffering. There are also situations where people, I don't know whether you've ever heard where people say, you guys really look good together, especially during the times of dating or early marriages, or when the marriage is very young, or when the relationship is still very young. And they look together in the public eye, they look together to their friends and families. And so, even when that relationship turns toxic, it makes it difficult for some people to live, because they remember these comments, they remember how they look to their friends or to their families, and so they stay because they want to please their other people, other than just taking care of themselves. And then there are those who have a sense of resignation, like they feel, this is my lot, there's nothing I can do, I am in it, I can't, there's really nothing much I can do. And so they just stay. They have reached a point where they feel they are helpless. They can't stay. They have found themselves in it. And especially if it's a strong commitment like a marriage, where they may feel, I can't really break my vows, or I can't leave. And so they have reached a place where they feel, I can only stay. It is sad, but that happens also, and it happens a lot. These are some of the reasons why a lot of people find it hard to leave a toxic relationship, or take longer than they should before leaving. But the most important point to remember is that everyone deserves to be loved, deserves to be cherished, to be accepted, to be appreciated. And anyone who finds themselves in a relationship that is toxic, that is hurting them physically, emotionally, socially, in any way, it is important to live. It is important to just live, and find ways to, just live and move on. And so thank you for listening, and we hope that you have gained something from our topic today, and that you will probably be able to help someone who may be in a relationship like this. Thank you.